This stream contains fast-flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised.
Today, it's all about family, and we've got back-to-back regional matches with 4 incredible teams fighting to stay out of the lower bracket. Also, a happy Korean Liberation Day, which is awesome. So, you know, want to give some love out there to our familia out here. Yes, and of course, welcome to Day 12 of VALORANT Champions, coming to you live once again from the COEX Artium right here in Seoul, South Korea. Of course, I'm Golden Boy, you got Kukuka and Mimi here. We're going to talk about some video games today, and hopefully you're okay with that. And if you are okay with that, well, then that's your problem. In any case, so let's go ahead and move on and talk about what we saw on this stage yesterday, because we had our first batch of playoff matches, and boy, oh boy, did we start with an interesting one. Because honestly, Mimi, I came into this one thinking that we were going to go to 3, with both teams' form being so impeccable right now, but Sentinels look fantastic in that 2-0.
On the backometer, they're so bad.
On the backometer.
Yes,
okay.
It's a technical term. Sentinels honestly looked great in this series for the first time, showing Neon, 2 comp changes. Both maps looked well rehearsed. It was a really great game from them to send the second team from Korea in a row down to a loss. DRX not eliminated, still alive, and that is the same case for this other regional game we had, where Trace kind of got owned by EDG.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about probably they have their number, they've won against them before. Trace not really even being able to take a map off of EDG, and they knew exactly what to do. Kankan was on something, onto something, and we really want to see that Neon head-to-head next time that we see the couple 2 winners from yesterday.
Oh, indeed we do. We're going to get Sentinels versus EDG moving forward, but we'll worry about that on a later date, because today we have some more matches to settle here at the start of playoffs. It's going to be 2 fantastic games, and, well, quite frankly, games that we've all seen before. Yep. It's going to be G2 Esports taking on Leviathan, and then we're going to have Team Heretics going up against Fnatic. But regardless of whether we've seen these matches before, on a global stage, with the stakes being as high as they are moving forward in this competition, you really want to make a statement here today, Mimi.
Yeah, both these teams have traded wins against each other before. It's, of course, both of our finals from the 2 Western International Leagues in EMEA and back in Americas as well. But this is the one that really counts. This is the game that you're kind of finishing your year on. That rivalry has been back and forth, but this is the one to settle the score and make it into, at very least, top 6 at Champions, and to stay in that upper bracket, which is huge.
Yeah. It's very difficult for people watching at home, especially when you're from a different region, to understand the level of the teams and who you should be rooting for, or who you think it's the better team. But I agree with you, like, things are so evened out that probably this is the way that they close out the year. Maybe even later in the tournament, we see potentially a rematch of either of these 2 matches.
Yeah, very well could be the case. Now let's go ahead and check out our pick'ems powered by AWS. Now this is going to be for who they think is going to win the grand finals, and Sentinels is going to be on top here at 30% of the vote. Heretics right behind them. And look, I think there is a very legitimate case to be made about Sentinels in this tournament, but I will not tolerate the G2 slander that is happening right now. The fact that they're 5th. Are you kidding me?
The issue, GB.
For the entirety of the year, they've been almost there. They grasp with their hands, but when it comes to those important wins is when they lose their seat.
And more importantly, the community thinks they're, quote, auralist.
I died when I saw that Reddit, but I died. I was like, this is unfair. You know,
it was funny.
Kids these days.
I mean, they're onto something. They're not as flashy as the other teams, but that doesn't mean they're a bad team. They're very good.
I love the post because it was like, no, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they're auralists. And I just thought that sent me. So whoever posted that on Reddit, bless you, child.
They're the perennial underdogs.
I read it twice.
No aura, no problem.
I read it twice, and I was very close to dropping Mimi a message being like, can you explain to me what this means?
Well, we'll find out maybe a little bit later because the auralist team will be taking the stage, and then they'll show everyone their aura. Okay, because their aura's in the server. I was going to respond to that Reddit post, but I was going to get violent.
How much aura does LEV have? I think having Ospas is inherently
quite a little bit, a little bit. But you know what? We'll talk about that in a second here, because before we get into today's first matchup, we're going to play a little game. We love games over here, and this one's called Would You Rather. You know.
Oh, this always goes
Never
wrong.
heard of this game.
Never
This
heard
always
of it.
goes wrong.
No.
Because you know that we love wild hypotheticals up in this piece, and this game couldn't be more simple. Chat, of course, you guys can play along, so have fun, go crazy. All right, first one. Would you rather play against 5 operators or 5 Odins?
Operators.
Odins. Oh,
Why
wait.
Odin?
Yeah, I will play against 5 Odins. Well, first of all, it depends on the map. But
I have 5 Odins.
I feel like if your opponent only has an op, you can play like more exploitedly. You're just double swinging every angle.
Yeah.
You're using your utility really thoroughly. I feel like Odin is more weird to play against. I think it changes the game a lot. The spam can be really
All right,
oppressive.
who would win in a battle?
Yeah, but it's also exploitable.
Depends on the map.
Who would win in a battle? 5 Odins or 5,
Ascent,
5 Ops?
I'm giving it to the Odins, but
Okay.
I don't know, maybe like an ice
I
box.
think I
you
give it to the
Ops.
operators.
I think it's just going to be really defensive sided with both of these hypotheticals.
Yeah.
I think that in one of these rounds where you've had a very dominant half and you close out the half by everybody buying an operator and just waiting for the first fake, I think it could be so powerful. I'll go for the operator.
I know Pansy's a big fan of the Odin, so
And Mitch.
and Mitch. So 5 Odins, that's going to be their vote for sure. All right, let's move on to our next one. Would you rather get eliminated in playoffs in OT or lose 3-0 in a grand final? I would rather
Get eliminated.
I would actually rather make the grand finals and lose 3-0.
Yeah, I'd
I'm
rather make the
thinking-
finals. I feel like losing in a super close OT is so crushing.
Yeah.
Because you think about every round, every little thing that could have gone differently. In a finals, obviously it's going to hurt in the moment, but then down the road you reflect, hey,
Because I still get to have
the
I get to have the intro. You know what I mean? The
I
intro
think-
walkout.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
get
it
to
would have
pop
been
off.
more difficult to choose between losing the final 3-2. You know,
Okay.
like you get those 2 matches, and it's not only that you lose in the OT, is you have a heretic situation in Shanghai where they're like, oh my god. we're
And
so
you know what?
close.
I just got word from our producer. He said more money in the grand finals. So
Oh, that
Oh, we
makes
play
a lot
for
of sense.
we play for money.
yeah, and if there's one thing your boy loves, it's money. All right.
Did you really not know there was a prize?
Yeah, I do know.
Okay.
Now, next up, would you rather play with high ping for the rest of your life or have Bread and Sideshow cast your life
High ping,
forever?
high ping,
Everything.
high ping,
No, don't
Like
do my
your
voice like
entire
that.
life.
high ping.
I would much rather
ping.
have Bread and Sideshow cast my life. You mean to tell me I could just force 2 British dudes to follow me around everywhere and compliment me?
That sounds so wrong. Can you imagine if I said, yeah, I want 2 British dudes to be following me around?
It depends on what your outlook on life is.
Okay. Alex,
Yes,
There are
Mimi?
some things I do not want Brennan.
high
Sideshow
ping is
to cast.
inconvenient.
Yeah.
Bren and Josh casting
No.
you showering and then shaving your head is weird.
I
you
would
know
watch
what?
that.
Personally,
Excuse me?
The second part.
only if Sideshow shaves my head for me while he's doing
They
it.
don't work
Look at
for
this
you.
incredible
I
form
don't think
right
that's in the
now.
contract.
You know, I can imagine. Yeah.
I
I'm
think
taking the
Bren
pick.
casted some rats fighting once, and it was really entertaining.
Yeah.
I would
and-
be interested in watching them cast someone's life, but I wouldn't want it to be my own. Hyping is inconvenient, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't hurt your, like,
I think we should give them like
Life
a
as a
reality
whole.
show. We should make it as a piece of content for next time.
Yeah.
You know,
I think so,
Brendan
too.
Sideshow cast your life for a day.
Yeah.
And they just follow a pro player, and we see
And
how
then-
bad that can go.
and then a month, like a year down the line, there's the expose about how unethical the television show was produced.
All right. Last one. Or no, we have
should
one
be
more.
producing.
You guys have a good idea. All right, here's this next one. All right. Would you rather run a team of Osbosses and 4 cats or 5 blindfolded Osbosses?
Cats. I want 4 cats. I mean, Aspas is nice. I'm taking the cats.
Yeah.
You just want the cats.
I want the cats.
I would take
yes.
the cats as well.
Yes, I'm going with the yeah.
How could you not like
I
cats?
think one Osboss is better than 5 people who can't see their monitor, so I'll take
Yeah.
the cat. And
Yeah.
also the cats is like
Can
an
you
added
imagine
benefit.
the cats? You know, like
'Cause-
you can only see their heads and their paws, like
Yes.
barely touching.
They do love
Yeah.
mice,
Barely
famously.
Can you imagine a kitty trying to play on a keyboard with them? Oh, that'd be
And
freaking.
those are 4 very cute cats.
Yeah.
I miss my
I would
cats.
go with the cats.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, although for me though, it might be bad because I'm allergic. So
But you can get, Jens is also allergic to cats, and you can get one of the cats.
Just like take some antihistamine.
Benadryl, just be like
Not
absolutely
Benadryl, you'll
fine
fall
with it.
asleep.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and hear your take in today's MasterCard fan poll. Which squad would you rather run? Okay, would you rather run the Cats or would you rather run 5 Osbosses blindfolded?
There's only one right answer.
Make
guys.
sure you vote using this QR code right here down on the screen, and we'll give you the results in just a little bit. That should be a rather entertaining poll, and it might say a lot about all of you.
It might
I
take a
think
lot
it's
about
going to be
society.
so funny because there's going to be people that are not watching the show and they're going to be like, what is going on? Like, how is this the question?
What is Valorant Twitter cooking? All right. Well,
It's an important question.
make sure you guys, of course, use those hashtags VCT as well as Valorant Champions to talk about all the good stuff. But now let's move on. No more time for fun. All right. But let's talk about the last time these two teams met with, of course, our America's Grand Final. We had Leviathan take that one 3-1. But let's not forget, Mimi, that, you know, these teams have gone back and forth multiple times in Americas.
Right now, it's even. These teams have played 2 best-of-3s, 2 best-of-5s this year, and it's 1-1 in both. The map record is tied as well. They've been very closely matched, but in this finals, it was a lot of overtime to start in the first 2 maps, but towards the end, I mean, Leviathan just pulled away. They had a lot of individual moments. Guys like Mazzino and Ospas were stepping up big time, and that ascent ended in kind of a stomp with some really good gameplay on that deadlock comp from Leviathan to hoist the Americas trophy.
Yeah, exactly. Not only that, think about that final. G2 came into that having 2 bans. That is a huge advantage in so many moments, especially, you know, in the final. And even with that, with the maps, especially the first 2 being so close, Leviathan managed to get that win. And that says a lot about the team itself and the form that they're going to be presented. Yes, Leviathan did struggle in the group stage, but, you know, it's been a different year for them.
Yeah.
And G2, the last time they hoisted a trophy was the Ascension Trophy to even get into the Partnership League. Since then, it's been the story of 2nd and 3rd places, deep runs, but never finding it right at the very end.
Yeah.
Twice in Americas, making it to a final, and then losing out there. And then once going all the way, the distance in Shanghai to only lose top 3. They've got to be so motivated to finally go on that run, to lift that trophy. They've been close so many times, despite being such a new squad to the international scene.
Yeah, and it's been very impressive to see them continue to build up, even when people felt like, you know, that they didn't have the weapons to be able to take out some of the more stronger teams in the circuit. But then, you know, you see this squad going up against EDG, and you think, oh man, after that icebox, they might be cooked. And, you know, to what you were talking about, Mimi, you were seeing this G2 team just find their stride. And Kukuga, I really do believe that G2, they're hitting right now. They're hitting, they're confident. They have every reason to be. At these global events, they have a tendency to do quite well for themselves.
Yeah, and I'm also thinking about the 2 days that they had in a break. Think about yesterday and the surprises the Sentinels was bringing onto the server.
Yeah.
I expect G2 to learn a lot from that specific situation that we were seeing against EDG. Yes, they managed to make it top 1, but there was some struggles there, and we can understand why. Now they need to step up their game. It is an opponent that they know very, very well. We know how things are going to go in the server. Like, we know that the rounds are going to be very, very tense. Honestly, at the beginning, it's about the one that makes the least mistakes.
Yeah.
And G2 is the team that their whole game plan is around not making mistakes. People joke about them being auralists because they don't play a super exciting style. They're not going to be playing a ton of flashy comps. They're not going to be relying on a star duelist. They have incredible fundamentals. They play their rounds slowly. They find the gaps in their opponent, and they are excellent at playing that style. Any mistake their opponent makes, they're going to be punishing, and they're also one of the best at shutting down star players. And those things are critical when you're playing against a team like LEV that relies so much on those individual moments and on a player like Ospas.
Yeah, no, I honestly, I could not agree more. There's certainly a case to be made for G2 in their current form being, you know, like world beaters in their own right, because they managed to shut down some of these more pivotal players, and they've done so time and time again. But for more on G2's win over EDG and their new Haven comp, here's Trent with an Omen player moment.
It's Trent from G2, and we just beat EDG 2-1. A little hairy, but got the job done. I'm just super proud of my team. We were able to fight through some rough circumstances and terrible rounds that we played, and just, you know, we just had a very good mindset going into the game, and we were able to battle through everything that was thrown at us. Haven, we brought out a new comp. We only had 1 day of practice. We didn't have enough time to really flush out all the protocols and get everything down and make everyone super comfortable. And yeah, I think one more practice, we'll be good on Haven, but I think that's just why it was a little close.
Broken once more, Icy. Decay down, a tap, forcing them forwards into the fight as well. Needs to try and isolate some of these fights. Done so, 1v1, all to survive, Icy!
So far, I'm happy with how we're playing. We've had very good resilience, we've had very good communication, very good teamwork, very good playmaking. And yeah, I feel like overall we've been playing very good Valorant, so That's my biggest aspiration, is just making sure I give 100%, never letting up, always giving more than I can give, even in the tough situations. And yeah, hopefully that way, if we all play that way, we'll bring home the trophy.
We've always known the team play is there for this G2 roster, but I think what Trent is saying there about giving 110%, every individual player having those moments, we're seeing more of that at Champions. They almost came back on that rough Icebox game against EDG because Icy, the guy that always got criticized for tough performances, was stepping up and winning huge rounds almost on his own. He's come into form. Jonas maintained his form from Shanghai. Valen still having moments. This is a G2 who their fundamentals, their macro is as excellent as ever, but their individual players are stepping up and winning more of those hero rounds as well at Champions.
Yeah, no, for sure, because when we talked to Icy just a few days ago, him talking about he got that confidence, he feels better about going for the swings. And part of the reasons why, because he has teammates on that side that really can back him up, that can enable him. One of those individuals in particular is Leaf. Now, while he may not have been on the team during their Ascension run, this is not Leaf's first foray here at a Champs event. He was here in 2021 with C9, but this guy has
long time ago.
Really, it feels like a lifetime ago for sure, but he has truly grown as a player. This was an individual known as a top flight duelist who could really take the fight to his opponent, but now he is one of the best lurking players in the game who still takes the fight to his opponent.
But exactly, that's what makes him so valuable. Yes, he was a star duelist, but even from this position, he brings so much value to the team. He always knows what to do, what's the best outcome, what's the best solution to the problem that is in front of him, even if it's a lurk, taking the right timing. Leaf is the guy that you want in that situation.
Yeah. He's an X factor.
Yeah,
totally.
and he's more than just what he provides in the server. We obviously can't know fully what every player is bringing in scrims, in the prep, but from talking to people who have played with him before, it's that he really has a great mind for the game. He's not a guy who's going to be out there grinding a ton of rank, being #1 on the leaderboard all the time, but what he does a ton of is watching VODs, watching other regions, picking up on new ideas, and trying to bring some of that to the team. Obviously, they have a super vocal player in Valen as that IGL, but Leaf brings experience and brings ideas that can supplement what Josh and Valen are already wanting to do as a game plan, and it's that, combined with that individual performance you're talking about, that make Leaf such an incredibly high valuable player.
Yeah.
He was my second picking when we were talking yesterday about, making your team.
Yeah.
Just picking 5 of the players. I would take Leaf. I think that, so what you're saying is having the experience. I know that he is going to be calm, collected, that he's going to have this kind of clutch rounds, and of course is an X factor.
Yeah, when I think of Leaf, the word that comes to my mind immediately is efficiency.
Tree. Oh, sorry.
And Tree. But he is a very efficient player, and he gets enabled big time, mostly because they have an incredible IGL on that side. In fact, both teams have incredible IGLs. You got King as well as Valen, and although Valen has been the talk of the town this season, coming into the league and really making his presence felt, Mimi, let's not forget that King also had a Herculean task this season, having to call in English, having to adapt his entire play style, while also still continuing to put up excellent numbers.
Yeah, picking up 3 new players, switching your language like you're mentioning, and also switching your coaching staff and your entire system is a big challenge for an IGL. And if you remember back to the Leviathan of last year when Owner was coaching this roster, the biggest criticism of this team was always that they were doing too much around the set ideas, around the stuff they've pre-planned, and not doing enough on the fly, not having good enough fundamentals to come out on top when the rounds get weird. And I really feel like King has beaten those allegations this year because the mid-rounding, the on-the-fly stuff has looked so much better for King.
And coming on to playoffs, yes, there's been a couple of days of a break, and if you continue to go further in the competition, maybe you get a couple more days, but right now it's all about that. You might have a preconceived idea. Everybody comes with their A game, super prepared for their opponent.
Yeah.
Today, on your first day of playoffs, you're going against an opponent that you already know, and that's probably the best that you are going to get. But as you're saying, it's not about the preparation that you had before, it's what you can do in the server.
Yeah.
For sure, and we were just watching the highlight reel from the guy, but both these guys are also IGLs who can frag. It's the year of the fragging IGL, gone are the days of the IGL.
Nah, it's the year of the rookies.
And shells.
It could be both.
It could be a year of many things,
Be,
Bea.
Nah.
That's the beauty of the year.
It's a year.
365 days.
It's a
No, we
year
have
of
short years.
opportunity.
525,600 minutes.
Okay.
Is that number correct?
Good reference. That's it.
It's not a reference to how many minutes are in the year.
I know, but it's a song too. Anyway.
Such a Mimi thing.
All right, well, earlier on, Yinsu caught up with our two team captains for a quick word. Let's go ahead and check it out.
We've got a very familiar inter-regional matchup today, so who better to talk about this than the IGLs, King and Valen. Of course, you guys have been going up against each other. I think this is the 5th time this year alone. So as the IGLs of your team, how much of today is going to be down to the mind games? I'll start with you, King.
I think the mind games matter a lot, but I think also like a big part of it is going to be like the anti-strat. We'll be facing each other so long, so I think mind games and anti-strat is going to be like way bigger, so that's it. Okay, what do you think?
Definitely mind games now because we face each other so many times, but it also comes down to a lot of preparation. Like he said, anti-stratting is important, and because you know each other very well, maybe you know that they know the anti-strat, so it goes deeper, you know, so we'll see what happens.
But both of you guys are pretty calm, pretty cold, so how do you psych each other out? How do you actually get to the other guy?
It's pretty hard. I mean, we both have experience. We're both pretty calm under pressure, so it just comes down to winning some rounds, gaining the momentum, the ult rounds going, and from there it just snowballs into a win.
You gonna stare him down on stage? Are we gonna get that?
Hey, I like him, so. Yeah.
Oh, so wholesome. Thank you very much, guys. Best of luck.
Oh, look at that. They like, and look, there's respect. There's
This
respect.
is so happy.
Yeah, there's respect across the board on the stage there. It's kind of hard to not like this G2 lineup because they always, you know, come at the game with a very, you know,
Dude,
professional
King is
mindset.
in the mind palace
I was
right
gonna
now.
say, you're being so nice, it's impossible not to like this guy. So maybe he's just dreaming about you right now.
Hey, maybe. You know, hey,
don't think that's
I'm going to just put my thoughts in there. But of course, let's go ahead and move on, though, to Leviathan. You see them on your screen there, of course. The first seed from Americas. Now, this is the squad that got upset by Trace Esports, and they kind of needed to find themselves a little bit here at Champions, but they were able to get here with a dominant win over Vitality. And Kakuka,
Yep.
I really feel like that game was exactly what the doctor ordered for Lev.
Oh, completely. Watching from home, it was such a surprise, right? To see Leviathan. I had such big expectations for them coming into the tournament. And watching it against Trace, I was like, guys, like so many of these things are so unlike you. Like, why are you being bothered by this? Like, how are you being so well read? I don't know if it's like you underestimating your opponent a bit or just taking it a little bit more relaxed at the beginning of the tournament. But then, as you're saying, once the match against Vitality started, and especially the way that they closed that map, you knew that the second one was going to be a stomp, and that is so important for them. Not only like to make it out of the group, of course, but to have a very, very dominant map, so you can feel like you can dominate the rest of the world with your best friend.
When I was watching the Trace game, I felt like I was watching a super team of individual superstars. So many people were going and trying to make their own plays, and they were getting out-called in the macro by a Trace that was playing really clean Valorant, honestly, quite similar to the way that G2 was playing. But in the game against Vitality, they shored up those individual errors. I think we saw a lot more often, instead of taking the timing, players would wait for their teammate, swing together, play more properly. And that is going to be so important today, because if Trace is a team about structure, about really well put together macro ideas, and they are, G2 is the master at that. That is the style they have defined this year. So if Leviathan are going to beat this G2 squad again, they need to keep the form they had against Vitality, if not better.
Yeah, now, of course, while we talk about Leviathan, we've got to talk about Aspas. I think we're like
legally required,
we're contractually obligated to have to talk about, you know, Aspas.
Bea, is
Oh, so
champion.
that was the thing that I had to sign?
Yes, that is the document you had to sign. I'm glad you actually
Should
got that.
really read that in the future.
Yeah, you really should.
I can't read.
But the thing is that Aspas, I want to say this very clearly. While Aspas is one of the greatest players, if not the greatest players to touch the game, this whole team has so much. It's not entirely on Aspas, but this squad is going to lean on what he can do on those entries, lean on what he could do with the op, and et cetera, et cetera.
I think that you can draw comparisons to other teams that we have had in Champions. Like, for example, yesterday, Kangkang, I think, was very important when EDG needed to win those rounds. He is the one to step up, to even things out, to give that hope back, to bring everything together. Having one of those crazy plays is not only good for him, I think it's good for the rest of the team. It's also a system that works. And also, in the overall, even though things are very evened out between these two teams, Aspas currently has a plus 74 overall against him. So, you know, he's good. 74 is a big number.
Yeah, that is, I mean, Aspas is just an insane player. The way Leviathan play, though, I think is pretty high variance, which is part of the reason why I think we've seen a lot of the highs and lows. They take more individual risks. Their site anchors are more willing to take these duels because they have players that are just so unbelievably mechanically talented, like Aspas, versus a G2 that is so much less willing to take those risks. But the thing is that if Leviathan are taking the right risks and their individuals are on that same form, I think no matter how good the fundamentals are for G2, there are always those gaps, those rounds that are you get shot, you die, and that's when LEV is playing to their absolute highest potential.
I know that they've talked a lot about, you know, the mental game, what they're going to do when they're in their server and all that. I think it also has to do with the feeling that they have for today. If G2 comes in and they start playing their game, everything is like very structured, but everything is working. We need Leviathan to step up and just say, no, this is not how things are going to be, and trying to get those starts. I think the mental starts way before they're in the game, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, hey, how about this? How about let's get into the mind of Aspas a little bit, because we had a moment to chat with him after making playoffs in this Omen player moment.
Hello guys, I'm Aspas, I'm a duelist player and I'm playing for Leviathan. I'm feeling okay now that we are on playoffs, but I have a feeling that we still have a lot of work to do and we need to take things step by step. So even now that we made to playoffs, we still have a long way to go. But we are going with maximum confidence to the next game as well.
They respect it. They're going to try to flip towards mid, but look at Calm. Oh my gosh. Calm is everywhere. Sender falls. Another 3 on the round for the Sova.
It's good to hear people talking well about me. It makes me feel like what I'm doing is working and just gives me more like confidence to keep doing it. And I will just keep on doing it so I can keep getting better and I don't get left behind. So it's good to hear those comments, but even when there's no comments, I will just keep trying my best so I can keep improving and then I can get to where I am in. So like I can keep playing well and just trying to get better and better and better.
And of course, for Aspas, he's also going to have incredible support there with Kama, you just saw in that clip, who really has found himself yet again. This is a guy who constantly is really, like, I feel like battling his own demons from time to time, where he's trying to find that groove, he finds that groove, and once he does, Mimi, it becomes very difficult to stop this guy in the server.
He had some really bad games in Americas, but here at Champions, he has stepped up big time, and he is playing like he deserves to win another trophy. It's back to the heroics from Champs last year when he did win, when he was named a champion, winning individual clutches, consistent supportive utility, and I also think really importantly for this team, just being a positive vibes guy who brings the mental for his squad.
Every single player at some point in the year they peak, right? There are teams that as a whole, they peak at some moment, but of course that goes also into the individual performance. If you're peaking right now here at Champs and you keep, you know, if you maintain it, that is how you get trophies. He did it last year, he knows how he can do it this year as well.
If you boil it down, Valorant is a very simple game. Just peak at the right time, find your best form when it matters most, and that seems like Calm's doing that.
You said it very, very easily, but it's very complicated to actually peak at the right time because there's a lot of pressure.
You can't just choose to peak.
No,
It's true. All right,
Why are these players not just peaking?
Exactly,
What's wrong with them?
Let's go ahead, though, and check out our MasterCard fan poll, because earlier we asked you which Aspas squad you wanted to run. Results are in, and thank you.
Right.
You all passed the assignment. 1 Aspas, 4 cats, because we all get to take the cats home.
Can we maybe look into those replies? I want to see. I want some sort of explanation on the people that voted for the roster of 5 blindfolded Aspas.
You know, shout out to MasterCard for just putting it out there. No context. I mean, great stuff. Well done, everyone. All right, now. We're getting down to the wire. We're about to bring out our teams, I think, in about a minute here. I want to see the predictions for the rest of the talent squad and see what everyone was predicting. What?
Wow, we just
Bro, I thought I was the only one.
Wait, what? G2 guarantee is so criminal.
I did not expect that.
Also 6-2 for Team Heretics. I thought I was going to be out on my own, la-di-da.
I really, wow, I did not.
We just cursed.
You know, they kept saying, stop underrating G2.
Yeah.
Took it too far.
Yeah.
Took it
really
a little too far there.
Oh, boy. Oh, I mean, yeah, but also everyone going for Heretics over Fnatic.
My point with Heretics that at some point they need to start surprising us. Like, to me, everything that they've achieved this year so far has been so much that at some point it has to go down. And you know, in the past, every single time that they predicted that they're not winning, they win. So it's like an amulet kind of thing. You know.
It could very well, but I did not expect the G2 sweep at all.
Leviathan, I mean, they won in the finals for a reason. G2's form has been good. The question, if it's good enough.
I think we're going to be so wrong.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get this show started, shall we? You got G2 Esports versus Leviathan. Team Heretics going up against Fnatic. You got day 11 of Champions Soul starting right now.
Shanghai broke me.
Rumors of Fnatic's return were greatly exaggerated. The Turkish gods sent the #1 seed team home.
Bombing out, not getting a single win. I just felt so disappointed, so ashamed, embarrassed. And I just remember, I just sobbed. When it came to this event, I didn't want the fate of this tournament to be in the hands of a boaster that isn't ready.
Final bow from Heretics. The crowd has been silenced, but the Valorant gods have not.
After we lost in Shanghai, I just walked down to the ramp. I looked behind me. I saw they were lifting the trophy. It was the worst feeling ever. In this tournament, we're gonna show what we learned in Shanghai. It's like last exam of the year, and we're gonna pass it.
It hasn't been the best year, but to be able to go out on stage and qualify for playoffs, I'm really proud of the boys to be able to bounce back, and I'm just really looking forward to whoever we get to face in playoffs.
I don't want to lose any match. I want to just go upper brackets and win in the grand final.
Durka, Chronicle, Althea, and Hero. That's the team I'd like to lift the trophy with, and I'll do whatever it takes.
I'll never forget the feeling I had lifting the trophy last year. I'll do anything to lift it again. Of the 40 VCT teams, we're top 8 in the world now. No one can say any other way.
We got second in Split 1, we got third in Shanghai, second in Split 2 again, and now we're top 8 in Champions, so I just feel like we're right there. We've learned so much from hard losses. My personal goal is to just give it 100% every day, every game, every round. And I hope my teammates think that way as well, because I know that if we do that, we'll win every game.
They've played a ton this year. It's always been close.
G2, we beat them in America's Grand Finals. We're at 2-2 now in our series against each other this year. So it could be a big deal to seal off who is really the best team at the end of this year.
All of you, you've got some work to do because we're hard to beat.
Leviathan. G2.
And for the 5th time this year, these two teams will take the stage against one another yet again, but this time the stakes couldn't be any higher. Last time they met, it was for a trophy in the Americas region, but this time it's an opportunity for them to continue their journey to lift the biggest trophy at all in Valorant.
And to settle the score on the year. 2-2 on series, 7-7 on the maps. these teams have been inseparable. And as we look at the veto, they both get their map that has looked so strong as of late. G2 debuting that new Abyss, and Let's Harbor Viper on Icebox, which has always been so good.
It's so important, that first map, that Icebox. We know the result that we saw against EDG when we think about G2. Exactly. We know that it's one of the best, if not the best map for Leviathan, but they've always struggled to play against G2. To me, the surprise is Abyss, that second map. We know that they played it regionally, but we have seen so many new things here at Seoul that I want to say that both of them might have something different prepared.
Yeah. I really think that this G2 composition that they were running on Abyss regionally with the Killjoy, Astra, Yoru ideas, it might become meta. It looked really good. The defensive rotations with that Yoru look on point. Astra is so powerful with global control to stall out on that map, and they looked so rehearsed when they played it there. But Leviathan had their own look, flying with the Harbor on that map as well. That should be a competitive one, but it starts here on Icebox.
You Americans love the Harbor.
We do, we do. And really, it's Leviathan. It's Mazzino that loves the Harbor so much.
It's true. But man, I gotta say though, this G2 team, you know, they know that this LEV squad has always brought the fire to them each and every time they played. They lost out on a big matchup to get that first seed here at Champions. So this is an opportunity for G2 kind of right the wrong of before, and no shocker here. We're not seeing much in the way of changes across the board. Both teams love running that Harbor Viper. The only difference is Icy's going to be on that Gecko, and you're not really going to have that duelist for G2 to take advantage of here.
Yeah, exactly. The Harbor versus Harbor, that of course we have seen a lot in the past. I like the fact for G2 that they're starting off on the attack. I think that that's going to give them a lot of leverage. They have to start very, very strong if they want to take Leviathan's pick.
But against EDG, they struggled on their attack. They were getting disrupted. EDG was fighting forward and really getting ahead of these plays. They'll have to look back at that VOD and improve, because this is one of Leviathan's best maps to start the series.
Well, let's go ahead and get map 1 underway. Send it over to your casters, two guys who are pretty familiar with this matchup. It's Doug and Baby Bay.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, we've talked about G2, we've talked about LEV, and I think one of the big things, Stray, as we think about this Leviathan squad is Icebox. They're insane at it, right? 12-3 across the entire year. They dominate this map. The kicker, 2 of those 3 losses on this map were against G2.
Yeah, and the G2 game plan is deny Ospas opping angles, especially when Ospas gets it up on the defensive side. We saw the last time these two teams faced, Valen, intuition on point, the Cascades were denying so much info for Ospas. So what can King do in this series to mask where the operator is and enable Ospas?
This is an early start. I know it's not the operator, but he's already corralling and controlling his troops. He's already sent 3 down beyond the alarm bot, so only thing keeping him back is Leaf is doing his best to hold the line, and they're not going to see him. He's going to spot both, and he's going to clean them up. What a start for Leaf. Meanwhile, the rest of G2 is taking A.
Exactly, the spike's already planted. Lev is a little worse for wear. Gets tagged up by a classic, but this post plant's going to be so deadly.
I mean, this is a dreadful start for Lev. It couldn't have gone any worse. You think about trying to create a little bit of chaos at the beginning of the round to catch your opposition off guard, if you will. This is not what they imagined. It's not how they drew it up. And now Jonah P swinging out, not able to clean it up. But Valorant dropped from the top rope. G2 get the pistol. What a good start.
Very, very convincing from G2. All that prep work. They know that Ospas and King like to be very aggressive in B main. So the pistol approach, it was quick. It was decisive. And Leaf, you play this to perfection right here. 2 freebies. And Jonah P, he had this late flank around to close out the round. But he was somebody that was pivotal for G2 in the win last time around.
Step at B, baby.
The G2 boys are already vibing. But yeah, Jonah P, he was a big reason why G2 took out Lev the last time around on Icebox. He had like 21 kills or something of the sort. And it's a 4-1 approach again, so the conditioning for G2, it's back-to-back rounds showing the same look. And full utility for Leaf here. All stops covered.
Right here. A little bit of noise made towards A. You've got Calm, the only one left to hold the line. We even got squiggly walls coming out from the Harbor.
Yep.
But G2 should be able to and will get the spike down. They've got the Phantom investment into Jonah P as well. They've thrown a lot of money into this Stray.
Yeah, and why not? They understand the game plan of Leviathan so far. It's been that 2-pronged approach towards B. There's nothing really fighting them at A.
At this point, anything that they can get there. Maybe a little bit of action across the middle of the map. Leave once again catching Tex. Aspas was there to respond in kind this time around. And Molly looks like it was just a little bit deep. So Com can hold on this for just a little bit. But at best here, you die to the spike.
Yeah.
Jonah P is going to get a little bit closer to having the pit online. Valent's going to get a reward for his troubles as well. So some damage done. I think the big takeaway here, Jonah P keeps his rifle. IC does as well.
Yeah. All the big guns in the arsenal for G2 are kept. Only a Stinger lost and what, a Ghost from LEV. So that allows him to invest fully into a Vandal. And it's been back-to-back 4-1s towards A site heavy. And that's why you're seeing a change of pace already from G2. We saw in the interview, it was said by King, it's going to be a battle of the minds.
Yeah.
Who's going to game plan? Who's going to adapt on the fly? Who's going to counter? You see Lever trying to get ahead of it, but everything's looking towards B now.
It's interesting to see how the rest of this plays out because Aspas is consistent no matter what, right? Like, he's world class. He's the greatest of all time. Like, you know what you're going to get with him, and you know he's going to deliver regardless of circumstances. It's interesting to see when LEV don't play well, it's because the supporting crew doesn't deliver. And so you try to shut down Aspas as best as you can, but finding value elsewhere is really where things turn around. Tex really struggled the last time they played. He's had a quiet start to this game.
Oh, Valen turns at the wrong moment. What a timing there.
Aspas getting another, numbers the way of the defense. As IC and Trent are the only two that remain. Yeah, they managed to get the spike down, but Trent's in such a brutal spot. And he's got a Spectre in a 1v4.
Oh,
he got spotted, yeah. Surely he was seen. He's able to clean up the first. The Cove will keep the collateral away. A tap to draw some utility. He's realizing everyone around him. Com's going to hang on to the defuse. He's probably sitting the whole way. There's nothing really to stop him. If you swing out, you're facing all three. He will drop one. That's another rifle down. Only two carried over for LEV.
That was a fast pace again from G2. A fast mid to B. This time around, just getting caught looking at the wrong angles in clearing the actual site. And it was kind of freebies that Leviathan were just given. Like
that
right
one,
there, yeah.
Alan looking away.
Yeah, Aspas winning this 1v1 against Jonah P. And yeah, it's all crumbled apart. But the start of the round was very impressive. And the change of pace and the change of a look from G2. And now they're going to go back to the tied and true from the first couple of rounds, and it's going to be an A default.
And this is where I think the game really starts. Across this entire tournament, these two teams have the best gun round win rate. This is where the series will be decided. Leaf lighting up the kill feed already.
Back-to-back entries from Leaf. Another one. The head-to-head IGL v IGL. Valen, he comes out on top.
That's where the mind games will play themselves out as Leaf is getting another. Dude, this is insane form for Leaf this early in a series.
It's something he struggled with the last time they played Icebox as well. He's known for being that duelist type figure on this map. When he gets heated up, I mean, it's so difficult to play against. Because from the side of G2, they've been running this no duelist comp all year long. He really has been that guy that gets a lot of the first bloods.
He's been so consistent, and then you put him on defense, and we think about all the clips he's hit with, like the Outlaw, for example, posted up back A. He's just been so steady for this squad.
And Tex has actually taken a page out of his book as well and stepped up in his own right, but so far, Tex hasn't really come out on top in those first engagements. And the A fight from Leviathan, it just wasn't enough. G2 were ready for every single angle.
And so the first gun round will go the way of G2. And LEV, I mean, at best, they're just trying to clutch onto these two rifles that they have left. Try to carry them over, and I think when we start to like branch out on the trajectory and the forecast for the rest of the half, you've got Leaf who has his ult online, Valen has his ult online as well. Jonah P's just a couple of points away from having the pit.
Icy as well. He's close to Thrash, and we saw how crazy Thrash can be on this map.
LEV is in a really dangerous spot early on Icebox here. Yes, I know it's early, and yes, I know they have Aspas, and yes, all these things, but again, I want to remind you guys of the history between these two on Icebox. 3 losses for LEV the entire year, 2 of them at the hands of G2, and you've got them in a position right now where this tiny little snowball can very quickly become an avalanche.
Yeah, G2 are 7
I think they think we have an A game plan.
Ah, see? It's the mind games already, just like I said. But
I'm almost concerned that that means he doesn't have an A game.
No. G2 are 7-9 on Xbox this year. It hasn't been one of their shining lights of their map pool.
You're right.
But the 2 wins they have against LEV are 13-8s. And the only loss they have was a 16-14 or something OT.
Yeah. I gotta play them really well on this map, and we're seeing it play out.
And another good read. Nobody really here to reciprocate from the side of Leviathan. It's a free site. The Harbor Ultimate's invested just in case.
I mean, just calm. He just got his ult online. Just he invested in this round.
They haven't planted the spike yet. It's very late.
Yeah, just making sure the site is entirely clear. No stone left unturned. The timing on this 2-man flank is going to be interesting. The problem is it's always been Tex and it's always been Aspas on these late flanks.
And there's 4 members waiting for it. So all the prep work, all the studying that G2 have done going into this match, you just see it on the minimap.
And even through how the map has been played. It seems like they're going to try. If there's a dart tag, he's in a position to go ahead and pop the ult. That's exactly what he does. The first splits the uprights. Jonah P swinging into the wall, able to find a little bit of value. So not much more than that. Meanwhile, the Thrash was dropped in the midst of all of that. Spike has been taken for a little while as Trent is dead. Icy doing his best to hold the line into the face of the double swing. But how much more can it be? Leaf not able to settle the shots, but the time is way too short. They burn the clock all the way down as G2 gets a 4.
That was a big investment from Leviathan. The Hunter's Fury from Calm, it didn't get a lot of value. Yeah, some kills went their way, but the time on that flank that you were mentioning about Aspas and Tex, it took too long, and it was a good play from them not to actually commit to that, because they would have been met by 4 members. Oh, that wall just came up right in time. Jonah P got a little antsy, and some of the shots couldn't settle for the side of G2.
That's not much. Very nice damage. Beautiful. 5 weapons and
no time, no time. Who cares, bro?
Yeah,
Think about this war play out between these two squads. Yeah, I mean, you've already heard it from the side of G2. They're willing to give up these little things if it means the greater victory. And so far, that's what we've got.
Tex just got deleted, Doug. Absolutely deleted. But you were speaking about war, and you're absolutely right. This is a war of attrition. Both these teams grind out rounds back and forth, especially in this matchup. And right now, G2 are 2 steps ahead. That Harbor ultimate was committed by Mizzino, but nobody is there at A site, and the spike is being planted at B. You want to talk about master classes in IGLing right now. Valen is calling a sick game.
Dude, I mean, this gun round is probably over. At this point, think about how long the spike has been down. Like you said, they've got the pit that they're going to have to navigate. They don't really have any tools to get around it. They've got Calm's drone, sure, but is that going to be enough?
How do you break through this post-plant defense? You can wrap around yellow, but the Viper's pit is so strong.
That's what they're trying to do. You've got Trent, who's playing in Cubby, to hold them back, and then you've got Leaf, who's in the fray as well. There's no way in for Lev.
No, an absolute firing squad met as soon as that harbor wall goes down.
They took the hard bait, they invested the Reckoning, and imagine how valuable that tool would have been to clear out the pit.
What a play from G2 so far, and we got to see a timeout from the side of Leviathan. We absolutely have to, because it's getting out of hand very fast. What a shot from Icy. What was the cue there? Just intuition, he just flicks down right at head level there.
You talk about a guy who's been on the receiving end.
Running circles around him, Jake.
Yep. That's facts.
Yeah, that's how it's played out. Man, you think about a guy like Icy and how he's been on the receiving end of criticism for his entire Tier 1 career. Let's keep it a buck, right?
Yeah.
He shows up, everyone goes, who? A Tier 3 guy? Like, is he going to be the right answer? Is this going to be enough? And yes, he's not always topping the kill feed. He's not always popping off. He's not always putting up highlight moments, but the value he's been able to deliver for his squad has been so impressive, and it's event over event, right? Like, he's stepped up for G2 when they need him to, and that's exactly what you need.
A lot of players in his position would crumble, and especially in the pressure of being on a team like G2, who have, honestly, for their entire careers, you think back to the Guard, dominated. They've won so many events winning into the league. For him to step in and just be the team player that G2 needs, it's been wonderful to watch. And it's hard to find a player like that that's willing to be selfless in many different moments.
And I mean,
and then step up when he needs to.
Yeah, you talk about selfless. That just feels like the DNA for G2, man. That feels like the structure and the game plan that Josh implemented into these guys from the very beginning. And it goes all the way back to the guard days. It goes, I mean, you just roll the Rolodex back as far as you want. Like,
right here.
Yeah, and you see evidence of that. You see receipts of that the whole way through.
I mean, Leviathan are already wishing they could have rolled back this round, or this map. So far, it's a 5-1 lead for G2, and as Trent said, they're running circles around Leviathan right now. And the game plan, it's so similar to the last time these two teams played. Find Aspas, go the other way, or find Aspas and util bomb him. And he hasn't got an operator up yet.
Yeah,
hopefully next round he can get that up. He still has knives, and there is the lockdown for tech, so if anybody on the A site gets a pick, you see Calm with the Vandal, maybe you invest it. We've definitely seen so far that Leviathan aren't shy to invest ultimates in their eco rounds or their weird buys.
Take flight.
Already seen evidence of that. Trent using his drone, he will spot one, and it was Tex. But no real idea that Calm's up close and personal on the other side of the wall. A second set of water comes through and Trent falls. Drowning beneath the pressure. A 1-for-1. And that's already a big win out for Lev. I mean, if you can keep this close, given the lighter weaponry that you have, sure.
And just a freeze to the round, waiting for any more type of peek. Movement being heard now. Tex, he gets an upgrade, so there's a chance for Leviathan to bring this one back.
They're fighting though. Calm is going to have to do so much. Tex was already on the rotate out, but now as the wall goes up, as the kill goes down for Calm, he rotates back. Aspas has joined. 13 seconds left. The blades online and available.
Whoa.
That's big out from Tex. It's going to be Val left alone in a 1v3. Aspas's blade still in play. He spotted a shoulder. Can he settle the shots? Dropping down, buying time as the spike ticks away. That's a snappy shot onto King, but you still got the raid boss on the other side. And he delivers again for G2, the Red Bull clutch, as they hit 6.
And it's not just that he delivers, it's who he just delivered against. That was Aspas in a 1v1 who had a rifle. The jiggling, the movement back and forth at top nest from Valen. It was so clean. Aspas, he had the knives. You can't just shoot him at the body. It's so hard to hit.
Last players, one enemy remaining.
And that shot on King, too. Insane work from Valen. When he's feeling it like this, G2 feel like an unstoppable force to be reckoned with.
They got so close in Shanghai. So close. I mean, they didn't drop a series until it was against Gen G and then against Heretics. Now this is a much more familiar foe. But the objective is the same.
And the last time G2 lost, it was against LEV. You know they want that revenge arc. A site has been just dominated by G2. Avoiding the operator once again, but they're running into a stack here with Texas utility.
And the stack. There are 3 here. Tex has his ult, King has his ult. Well, Tex doesn't have it anymore. Or he's not going to be using it this round anyway.
He's playing so aggressive in backside. That's back-to-back rounds he's done that.
I love this cascade.
Oh, the freebie as well. We'll take that any day. Calm, he answers back though.
And the money for Lev is not great. I don't think they can really, unless it's a lot of kills out from Calm and from King, Aspas has to be careful. An investment of the op being lost here is so dreadful. Jonah P in a 1v3. King 12 HP, that's the first one, that's the weak one. But Calm's 3 kills on the round gets Lev their second, and the op is kept from Aspas.
The desk said it, Calm, he's been stepping up huge. And in this moment, when his team really needed him, it was looking dire. He stepped up once more, and he has another Hunter's Fury online for the next round. The entries were great from the side of G2, but the trading, the utility that Calm was using, 3 players scanned in that moment, and the shots that he's hitting,
one enemy.
He's looking on point in this game so far. Back-to-back rounds that he's had big impact and given his team a chance.
Top fragging for Leviathan. You mentioned the Hunter's Fury back online. A couple of ults on the other side to meet. There's a lot of presence towards A here, really from both squads. It seems like both have just agreed to ignore the other side of the map.
We've seen this a lot in this tournament specifically. It's just an A fight after A fight.
I mean, we saw it with LEV and Vitality just a little bit ago.
Yep.
A much faster pace. Aspas with the miss. Has to dash out. The Reckoning dropped as well. A litany of ultimates invested. Trent will be the first to fall. Icy swinging a little bit further. He probably should have. But they've managed to get the spike down now. Tex has a really big ult that he can try to flush the side out with.
And he should do just that, especially when this drone gets so much info.
He has to take a step back, caught by it. They don't really need to invest the lockdown anymore. It's just Jonah P left on the site. And with too many angles to clear, too many things to consider, and not enough guns to cover it all. He will fall. LEV get their third. That's another defuse coming through for Com, who just had a Hunter's Fury. Now one step closer to having it back online.
The timeout working wonders for Leviathan. Back-to-back round wins. And Com, the Hunter's Fury, Trent couldn't get value, but he can. Some good work. King did such a good job in this round of staying alive against the Harbor ultimate. He could have gotten swarmed at any moment.
Boys.
There you go. And we heard something in the last match with Leviathan, you know, the coaching staff saying, now you're finally playing aggressive. That's what we just witnessed. They're taking the fight back to G2. They're not just conceding A site in its entirety. They know how good G2 are in the post-plant scenarios. You have to disrupt.
I love this pit at the beginning. Think about how many times they've leaned towards A on the attacking side.
Yeah. It's about time for a change of pace, so a good read into the game for King now. On the battle of the minds.
Right here.
And then the op's still up on the opposite side of the map.
Right here.
They can freeze for a long time here too. Oh, that'll flush it out.
They're into this fight. They're not ready for Tax. He gets a collat.
What a spot to be in. And yeah, King gets caught. That should clear out the pit. Assuming the gun doesn't come up in time. How in the world does King get to? That is unbelievable.
I've never seen something like that.
He was dead to rights.
Fresh off of the Thrash detain, jumping in the air. A good setup for King, but you did not expect it to go this way with the shorty. That's how he closes it out. That's unreal.
What a play from King. We talk about Aspas and we talk about Icy and whether or not he can match it, and then, you know, we've got to talk about obviously Leaf and Ted. So my eyes go towards King and Valorant. That's the matchup that I was most excited for in this match. And so far, it's delivering. Tom's in a really good spot here. Still has a lot of utility to play around, but position concealed. I don't think they saw him. They didn't see him. Only one found though. You've dealt with Com. You still have to take care of Mazzino, and now Reckoning invested. They're scattering.
Reckoning and Lockdown, the combo. G2, they have to leave all of A site, work something else on the map. That turret's still up though in mid.
Well, the thing is though, you've got so much time left in the round. You have to have presence A to ensure that they're not just re-clearing and they're not hitting it again. That's why you see them push so far up past 410.
Yeah, good proactivity. This is something Leviathan does quite often as well. Even when they're up numbers, they'll do this.
You imagine Jonah P's waiting for his orb to come back up so they can clear mid, not have to worry about the turret, but the timing is way too fishy. Aspas not able to settle a shot. A great response out from Trent. They've got to understand the jig is up. Leaf with the op. In a position like this is dangerous. Dropping Mazzino, the pit planted. And now a 2v2. Leaf's making that thing sing, man.
Is this chamber meta again?
He still has one more to deal with. A big investment of the pit out from Jonah P, but I mean, content to secure the round as G2 as they get their 7th.
Aspas, that one whiff was the difference between G2 winning the round and losing the round. It all came down to that, honestly. All of a sudden, if Aspas gets that kill, he's able to get back, or even if he just survives in this moment. But what a shot hit by Trent in that moment. It gives Leaf the upgrade from the Outlaw to an Operator, and we've seen him off many times. Remember, this guy used to be a main duelist for all of his teams.
3K on the round for him, and then I think the biggest thing we've got to mention is he put the op down. Didn't carry it into the next. A lot of ults here to play around. Trent has his ult, Leaf has his ult too. Nothing to speak of on the side of the defense.
That was a very far drone. It's all to find out if Aspas is opping anywhere towards A site.
You should
But
run.
he's not either. He's using a rifle of his own. Lockdown will be invested. Trent still has the Hunter's Fury online.
Yeah, it seems like they're pretty intent on sticking this one through. There is no misdirection. There's nothing found on the other side. Tex just tries to play on the knife's edge. A's going to get detained, but he shouldn't get punished. Should be okay.
Still a little bit of a flood coming out, at least into back sight, but G2, they can just play post plant right now with that Harbor Ultimate and Hunter's Fury.
They have so many tools at their disposal. Trent's going to clear everything out to make sure there's no funny business behind him. But now the reckoning. Wisps lighting up the sky as they've dropped the... It's a beautiful combo, man. There's nowhere to go, and even if Icy gets a little bit of damage, he gets a little bit of info, he can buy his time. They've left Aspas in a 1v4. A tap of the spike is just a threat, surely. There's way too much to confirm that that's all it is. A second tap now. Trent will fall. 70 HP. As the clock ticks away, he's going to get his damage dealt, but G2 will get to 8. What a half.
Just icing Aspas the entire half. That was the name of the game for G2. It's what happened last time around these two teams met on this map.
I mean, he's not crazy positive to go, but 8 and 7 from Aspas on a first half on Icebox like that?
Yeah.
Something has to change. We'll see if that's the case on the other side.
Oh, come on.
Trade in any phone in any condition guaranteed and get $800 off the new Galaxy Z Fold 6. Only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
We've danced one half so far of this opening best of 3 between these two America's squads. And Dre, for as much as we talk about LEV and as much as we talk about LEV on Icebox in particular, it's been G2 who's looked really good the entire time.
I know. For a second after the timeout, it looked like LEV were going to get their footing.
Yeah.
It looked like they were going to actually be able to go toe-to-toe with G2, but G2 just took it away, and that was off of no timeouts. I don't think G2 called a single timeout in the half.
They didn't.
Josh left Valen to his devices. He understood that he had a flow state of calling and that he would figure it out, and he did just that. They closed out the half 8-4, and now Aspas is going to need to step up huge in this moment. He's the only duelist in the server right now in terms of the actual agents.
14 and 8 out from Valen.
Yeah, he's playing like a duelist.
Ridiculous performance so far. Look at this setup. Look at the turret. The turret's so far back in spawn. You've got the alarm bot on A with the nano on top, but everyone else B.
Yeah, last time around for Leviathan, that turret was their demise. Heaven was completely open, and it got abused. Will they fill the gap this time, or are they going to be very proactive and try to push the fight into Leaf or Icy on the other end? It was utility use from G2, but nothing on the other end. Leviathan don't even know that they saw anything like that.
Yeah, the problem is this spike has been planted for a little while. Clock has been taking calm swings a little bit too far ahead. And again, into the face of the firing squad! But Tex shows he can shoot back! Leaf's so weak, Tex is gonna have to do it on his own, 1v2, and they're both so fragile, made of porcelain. Can he deliver the shots? 4 bullets left, 2 targets to be found, 1 left. Can he spot the beanie? Yes, he can! Tex Tex hits all 4 as Lev gets to 5.
What a round from Leviathan. That Viper wall from G2, it's nothing like we've ever seen before. It cuts the site in half for the retake. And the start of the retake was so good for G2, but Tex, the shots that he just hit, being able to deduct where Leaf was, sticking that spike. Another day in the office for him as well. And he's sitting at 13 and 10. Leviathan needed that, and they needed that bad.
A Marshall in the hands of Leaf, but that's really the only weaponry to speak of for the side of G2. All of them lit up and balanced in such a good spot, but I mean, with effectively a clay pot, how do you fight back?
Yeah, that's a tough one. You almost found a timing amongst all that chaos of utility on the actual nest area of A, but Leviathan, they're just gonna contact in after the drone, use their utility, and suffocate all the players backside. Double swings all around. Another, that's that wall I was mentioning. It's so odd.
Yeah.
So unique.
Still seeing innovation on the map. Leaf left in a 1v3. Yeah, Texas,
he's heating up.
Yep.
Yeah. He's definitely heating up.
For as quiet as he was in the first half, he has turned a page.
And a lot of good weaponry saved as well for Leviathan. Looking very similar to the start that G2 had. Albeit not winning the macro game, I would say, but the micro. It's kind of what you expect from Leviathan in this matchup. You expect them to be the ones that pop up individually against G2, and G2 to be the ones that take the more coordinated team approach. Another A default this time around. Leviathan opting to put King and Tex towards that B site. Prodding up.
Again, look at how active Valen is getting. The wall's gonna go down. He's gonna find the timing.
Oh my goodness.
He slipped the net. Oh, and he spots them both. Rushes the shots, so not able to clean them up. A little bit of damage dealt, but the cost was his life.
Yeah, and the cost was all that B space as well. All of B gathered right now. Tex deposited.
Lev have so many options here. They can rotate him back B and fill in with Tex. They can just leave him there and have him hit a late flank as they try to end A. I mean, the map is their oyster.
It's going to be a fake B hit, though. And G2 aren't reading into it at all.
Well, as soon as that harbor wall went up, Leaf popped his mollies.
G2 knows something's amuck.
Yeah.
They're holding their ground. With no tap of the spike, they don't need to move. That would have been their cue, but Leaf might get timinged here. Mazzino.
He's gone exploring. Finds Leaf as he tried to exit, and now they've inserted Aspas on the other side. This double, triple pump fake seems to be working out for Lev.
The B players were just human drones at that point, and now Aspas, he turns into a lurk. He's going to be met by Jonah P, and he deletes him.
It's just such good timing out from Lev right now. This round has been gorgeous to watch.
Yeah, you want to talk about running circles. That was a circle right there. And Aspas, he's not slowing down right now.
Tries to land the shots onto Icy. Not able to best him, but the damage has been dealt. Icy's finding a little bit of value at the end, a parting gift.
But look at Mazzino. He's already ahead of this. He was the one that got the entry at B, and he's all the way here to meet Icy. But Icy, standing tall.
He's going to get a little bit closer to having the thrash up. But again, I mean, for as much as Icy's doing really cool things, they're going to end up on Reddit, I'm sure. Lev's calling this round was beautiful.
Yeah, King, he called a phenomenal round. And the whole point of that was setting people up on the extremities. If it was A side, it would have been Aspas. Towards B, it was Tex and Mazzino. And with the weapons that they had, they're basically human drones.
One thing I really like about this approach too is that they aren't fully shoehorning themselves into one play.
Yeah.
Right? Everything had a, okay, if this doesn't work, then we still have this. There were layers to their
Beautiful
approach.
call there, boys.
Yep. A good contingency plan for sure. But that's not just King there. He needs the info from Tex. He needs the info from Aspas to formulate that plan.
Oh,
and pick the right site.
That's why you hear him there saying, like,
exactly.
Good call, boys, yeah.
Exactly. Had to point that one out. So G2, their economy, it's not looking too hot right now. Icy with the only rifle, he saved it from the previous round.
Yeah, and he's so close again to having the Thrash. But this is danger.
This Viper wall is still so interesting, but it looks like Leviathan have a good read on how to deal with it. Just bait it out, understanding that G2 like to play on the right side of it for the most part.
I mean, they're just doing such a good job at creating all these acute angles. Given the walls that they have, the Cascade, the Viper wall, the other Harbor wall.
They baited out almost every single piece of Harbor utility. All that's left is the Cove. Oh, that dart's gonna get so much info.
2 found, a third there.
Good shock dart chip damage as well from Shen.
Again, Harbor's utility goes up. And this time, they're done playing games. They're fully committing out onto the hit. Remember, they didn't have much of a buy on the side of G2, and that rifle is still in play. They've burned the clock down so low, but is it going to be enough? Icy now has his Thrash online. Does he drop a weapon and try to invest it? No, he's just sticking it out. He's got to be careful here. There's so much danger, but very nicely handled with the ult. The thrifty round win for G2.
Wow! G2 with the MasterCard Thrifty, and the way that they've just done it. That was insane. Cycling the utility. And Icy with the entry on the top against Tex. That's the cue to start investing more layers of utility. Osbos, he just gets caught. That wall goes down at any time. It's so unique, it's so odd. You're not used to playing against something like this, so you don't know all the looks.
Good job. And the looks are working out. Now 2 rounds between these two. The first thrifty of the series going the way of G2. And back to their old ways they go. This is for all intents and purposes a rifle round for Lev. Aspas popping his blades.
He's put in work with the blades, especially entering towards the A site, so I'm expecting big things out of him this round.
He's got the drone to pave the way, but he does not follow the red carpet.
B-space gathered again. Last time around, that's what allowed Leviathan to just finesse around the map.
Yeah, but it was off of insertions from everyone.
Yep.
This time there's nobody that's been inserted towards A.
And the re-clear of Trench Drone, nobody on Leviathan is here to see that or hear that he did that. So it's going to be a full lean. It's going to be a 5v5 towards this B site.
Keep an eye on Valent's position and his ult. If they're ahead of this,
it's a flood.
Really good spot to be in.
The thing is, that ult cannot hit an updrafting Jet. So the Jet knives Osbos. He gets tagged down a little bit. Doesn't get value.
First the wall. Now the Reckoning at the ready. Off of the tap, he fully commits to it. Icy's going to dump all of his utilities. They try to fight back sight. The flood in full effect. But Leviathan are the dam! 4 found! G2 kept back. Trent left in a 1v3. On the swing is Mazzino. Make that 3 as Lev get to 8. What a response, man.
Yeah, and what a massive round from Mazzino. In the face of the Harbor ultimate, he drops a Cove on himself. Plays around it on a knife's edge. Gets a 3K at the end. That's why you see him with the thumbs up right there. His team is dabbing him up. They understand the timing that he made himself. Cove was perfect. Nobody aware. The trade just couldn't get there for G2. A quick answer back from Leviathan, and now G2 taking their first time out of Icebox. What a close game.
Remember the response that Leviathan were able to put together on the other side of their timeout in the first half, where it seemed like they were starting to find some momentum. They put together, I believe, 3 rounds in a row on the other side of that. Now we're going to see if G2 can do a bit of the same.
G2 just haven't really had an answer for the actual A fight that they're taking. I think they're expecting Leviathan to commit into an A execute, but they don't need to. They're baiting, Leviathan are doing a good job of baiting out utility sets and then ending B in massive rounds. Rounds where the implications are dire for G2. And now Lev, they're sitting pretty on 2 ultimates of their own. They can get a 3rd, which is the Reckoning. They have the Hunter's Fury and Lockdown. This is all a recipe for success towards that A side of the map. And this time, G2, their approach, okay. Our game plan of playing behind this A wall and delaying the inevitable.
Placing swarm grenade.
We're gonna go for more mid control.
Yeah, concerned with what's happening across that area of the map. That drone spotting 2.
Right here.
What's the response from G2 here? Yeah, look at this focus across mid. This is such a different look.
Yeah, I think they're gonna try to play just a full retake style this time around. Play more by the book. And Leviathan are reading into this. They understand no one's bet here.
Well, it's interesting though because they don't have the Reckoning for a retake attempt. They don't have the Thrash for the retake attempt to flood behind it.
Yeah.
So consistent with that ult, man, and he hits it again.
And he hits Trent, who had a Hunter's Fury of his own. And so now, so now the lockdown, it gets so much value. It's such a deep lockdown as well. Everyone has to play so far back, no real chance of a flood.
They flush out the side, and Aspas fills in on the space behind it. Now they have a Reckoning of their own that will only continue to cause chaos into the situation. Aspas with a little bit of friendly fire will finally go down as Tex fills in behind it. Numbers away the attack, a goop in his face, and Tex cannot settle the shots. Icy's been really good. He's going to have to 1v2 to win this round, though. Mazzino weak. Comms on the flank. As is typical for him, but he doesn't even get in on the action. Mazzino cleans him up, and we're tied.
So well played from Leviathan. Calm with that random Hunter's Fury. He picked the perfect spot, the perfect opportunity to use it. And he takes out Trent of all players. The only guy that could have countered the lockdown.
Yeah, low-key unlucky.
Yeah, like, hey, unlucky, bro.
What can you do? I mentioned at the beginning of the map that, at the beginning of the series, that these two teams are the best gun round teams in the tournament. Both at something like 60% and 58%, something like that, but they're topping the charts. Currently, they're sitting at 5-4 the way of LEV. So these two strengths that we expected coming into this series for these two teams has delivered.
That's why the score is 9-9 right now. Fighting tooth and nail. But you're right, that thrifty round that G2 got previously, it was kind of a saving grace of this half. That being said, it's the only round they won this half, so that's why I say that.
Dark going back sight, Mazzino's Cove, ooh, not able to clear that out. So that will throw a wrinkle into their plans. Can they iron this out?
Weapons just aren't there for G2. We saw what they could do last time around, but the sight, B sight. Oh my gosh, I was gonna say it could be so difficult to find kills.
Again, you mentioned it a few moments ago. They've had a thrifty round win already.
And surely Leviathan know that there's so many members of G2 here, but they have no space on the other side of the map.
And it's the same approach. Remember a couple of rounds ago, they called a freeze. G2 didn't move. They're doing it again.
And Trent has the entire mid line, so he doesn't need to. Now he's just going to lean over. He has his own Hunter's Fury if he wants to invest it.
There's more danger in this too. Previously it was just a Vandal. This time it's a Stinger and a Bulldog.
The time, Doug. The time's running too low. Calm, he wanted to double back, but they realized the time is too low. They have to commit. The Hunter's Fury is taken out. Wow, what a fight on site from Leviathan to take that round away. Trent, if he doesn't drop in that moment, the time was so low, he could have won solely off of the Hunter's Fury.
6 of the last 7 the way of LEV, and yeah, that one was probably the closest we've seen so far.
Down to the wire.
And yeah, Trent falls, but it was the gunfight afterwards where everything just went into chaos.
Oh, man.
Trent falling there certainly doesn't help, but those fights right there on the other side of the cove, that's where the real trouble lied.
You see Josh, I think he's saying the same thing I just said. Why are we peeking? All good, though, going into this next round. Leviathan finally take the lead. First time in this series. And it's the double walk up mid-tube.
This is what it felt like what G2 was concerned about a couple of rounds ago on that mid presence.
Yep.
They've got the turret. Yeah, they've got the turret a little bit further back to cover. But all of LEV are back towards B.
Tex got deposited by King. King is going to go back A, but he's going to be met by an operator.
And opping Jonah P.
But the spike's being planted at the same time, so it's going to be a retake.
Spike planted.
And post-plant on the B site.
I wonder if there was no, there couldn't have been a tap on the turret. Tex is playing his position so nicely. He just quietly lures him in.
Yeah, should ask for the orb to be up, but doesn't matter anyway.
Second shot missed out from Jonah P. That op hasn't found very much value. Meanwhile, Comp's position once again gorgeous. Leviathan really pushing the matter here as G2 are starting to crumble. Where's the response? What's the spark? I don't think there's one this round. He's got to try to save the op, but
he's hunted.
I mean, he's surrounded. And yeah, they're trying to find him. That's a nice shot. Still 2 waiting on the other side. Can he try to hang on to this? White knuckling his way to keeping the op in hand, and it will slip from his grasps.
Leviathan in these moments, catching G2 off guard. Icy doesn't commit fully to that reclear into. See the replay of that right here, yeah. Caught lacking, thought that he was a little bit deeper, and that from Leaf just jumping down, not expecting somebody to be close sight. Why would a Sova be there is probably what he's saying to himself. But you gotta be ready for everything.
That's the
yeah, he's laughing, yeah.
That's the maniacal giggle of a Sova who's playing in Cubby under hell.
Yeah.
He knows what he's gotten away with.
Absolute madman. Leaf is actually lucky that that ultimate wasn't committed into that round. So he will carry that on in the future rounds, but that's the second timeout blown for G2. No answer back for Leviathan. The only round they won again was a Thrifty with 1 Vandal and a bunch of Sheriffs.
The thing is, they've got the potential of another Thrifty round coming up, and there are a lot of ults that G2 should be able to speak of here. And we'll see those in just a few moments.
And it's so hard to get a Thrifty against a Reckoning, even if you're stacked on that site. You can't just stand still with a Sheriff. I mean, we've heard of cosmetic stuns, but it would have to be cosmetic stuns on an entirely different level.
G2 have a really difficult question to answer here, and I think that's what the timeout was around. They find themselves 1 round away from map point. They have 4 ults, and they're 1 pip away from having their 5th, and it's on this light eco. So, I mean, you have a lot of things you have to answer here. Do you fully invest into everything and kind of empty the cupboards, throw everything at them and kind of see what happens? Do you hang on to all of them and play for OT? This is a really difficult spot for G2.
Yeah, and even if you get a couple kills into the round and you invest a couple ultimates, there's still a chance you don't win. What a Molly lineup.
What?
That's disgusting work.
Is that Tex?
Yep. Disgusting work. And look at the shift because of that.
You have to.
A drone is used in mid. They're so worried that a fast timing was taken.
The call on this is gorgeous because you're right. They have to consider what could be happening mid. Meanwhile, they're going to fill into A for free.
And who did they see in 2 last round? It was Tex pushed all the way up.
Icy was the only one playing back A.
Oh my good, what a call from
but
King.
But the question is now, do they invest their ults? G2 at 5, they have everything they could want. Jonah P falls, and you imagine that decision is only getting harder with every passing moment. The kill feed heavily going the way of Lev, but it's turned. Still, there's no way they get away with this. There's no way they do it again.
The spike's in heaven.
There's no way King can get to it.
Oh.
But there are so many things. You're going to get faced into 2 as soon as you swing through this door. What can King do?
He can isolate 1v1.
They're both so weak. You've got to be careful playing this on the knife's edge. Can King stabilize? 1 big step done. They've invested 1 of the ults, but it's a bait. King's repositioning, 13 seconds left. Does he take the fight or does he go for the plant? Waits out the ult and now committing. First bit of utility through, and it's not going to tag him. He's got to know that he's there, but he's so weak. Another Thrifty the way of G2.
Too overconfident was Leviathan in this round. The first 2 kills from Calm were enough. That's it. Just chill out. Another MasterCard Thrifty. When you push that deep, G2 are going to take that any day of the week.
This was that nerdy lineup that we saw at the beginning to clear the turret, and that's really what set this whole thing in motion. That's what led to the full focus mid. That's what led to the full A take for nothing. And that's what led to this disaster that happened out towards spawn.
What an overextension. Leviathan have effectively given G2 an in once again.
And I mean, it's not just an in. It's not like the window's been cracked. They kicked the damn door down.
Yeah,
they have 4 ults.
The ultimates, exactly.
What a mess of a situation. First one used. Can Calm find a kill? Again, so good with it. He's going to get a couple of tags.
Oh, a step made from Leaf.
Not finding lethality. He's quietly tucked across the middle of the map. This is really deep. I don't know that they're expecting this. Trent gets caught asleep at the wheel. And now everything starts to come through. They don't know there's a second one! And Tex is on the punish! Oh, what a mess! Numbers the way of the attack. The spike will get planted. Now the reckoning out from Val, and if they try to flood behind this, it would be ideal, but forget about the flood. Valen gets spammed through the utility. I thought the door had been kicked down.
Powers out.
But on the contrary, it's been slammed shut. Leviathan, what a massive swing. Leaf realizing he has so many targets he has to deal with, so many angles to consider. Now tagged by the dart. No real time to speak of.
Yeah.
And now a shock in his face. He tries to create a little bit of space, but he cannot. What a response from Lev. That's now 7-4 the way of gun rounds for Leviathan. They've run away with it.
Good mental fortitude from Leviathan to win that round back after how they lost the previous. A lot of teams can crumble in that moment. Maybe even lose out the map, but this double lurk play, catching G2 off guard again. And what is that? I mean, that's just, what can you do? Mazzino's just spamming off of a...
Bro, I was begging you to bait me, bro.
What a beautiful call, man. The double insertion made right into the next round we go. Leviathan on map point. King has a pit. Tex one away from his ult. And the buy for G2 is not great. It's spotty.
Yeah, the fighting squad of Leviathan is geared up towards B, but it's that 1-2 punch again of King and Tex holding the A space. Giving a plan to fall back at any moment. Good shock dart damage. No utility being broken yet.
G2 have been this super team's kryptonite on Icebox. But Lev seem to have figured something out. They seem to have solved it. Early pit out from Jonah P towards A. And Lev should know here very soon that that's where all of it is. An alarm bot clear towards B.
Yeah, and that causes 2 players of G2 to shift over. But the hit is actually coming towards A site.
It's interesting. I don't think they're convinced of this. The 2 nanos are still up. They haven't heard a tap of the spike. And Leaf is starting to creep towards mid. I don't know that that was enough.
Wasn't.
Mazzino's perched. Yeah, Mazzino perched up above it. The cove instantly cleared.
Wow.
And that's the spike dropped. They're going to have to deal with a pit of their own, though. How do they get past all the green? 10 seconds left. They haven't committed onto this yet. They haven't found enough breathing room. They haven't found enough space. They've got to navigate the pit. They've got to navigate the lockdown. And the clock is burned. But they managed to get it down. Numbers the way of the defense with the lighter weaponry. Can they respond? That was a massive one. And King is detained. Can they find him? Can they hunt him down? Yes, they can. G2 will get to 11.
I thought for a second King may have gone unnoticed, but the Professor, he's not falling for that one. And this is such a crazy match that we're witnessing so far.
10 seconds
this back
left.
and forth, it's got to be one of the best. What a lockdown as well from Leaf. Super unconventional.
They just did so.
Yeah, we are. They have killed.
They did such a good job of making the site feel so crowded, of making it feel so tight, so claustrophobic.
But Stingers benefit in that moment. So it kind of worked against them.
Oh, it's a fight. It's a brawl. This again decides OT, or we're headed to Abyss. Valen holds the line. But Aspas tries to respond. He cannot. Barring a miracle from King, we're going the distance. We're going to be gifted with free Valorant. Can he pull this off?
He has so much time to work with. He's biding his time. On the other end, G2 doubling up.
Yeah, they realize that fear lies in the fact that they don't know where he is. There's really no utility that's given any info.
Notice the spacing too. Trent kind of baiting Leaf in a way.
Yeah.
Worried that King might be in some weird off angle, some weird corner.
Meanwhile, King can walk into B unmolested.
He breaks alarm bot and the first molly, so G2 are aware now. But King can still play anywhere. He's still biding his time.
He can flip the map back. Spotting one, and now position given away. A spit at their feet.
30 seconds left.
Buys enough time to get the spike down. King looking for a little bit of safety, looking for a little bit of space. As the wall goes down, the first shot goes through a dink, but no kill found yet. Off the tap, King has to swing, and Trent's there to greet him. Overtime, baby.
What a shot from Trent. Sitting King down. King, he played that really, really well. Walking all the way towards B site, but it just wasn't enough. The pre-far on Leaf, the Phantom, it doesn't one-shot.
Spike down.
And finally, the A aggression. All together, it works in the last round that they needed to bring this to OT.
Spike down A.
That's the whole purpose of this Viper Wall. There's multi-use for it. Yeah, you can use it to cut the site in half for the retake, but you can also push with it. We finally see the value.
And again, we've got to give Valorant his flowers, man. 23 and 19. That's a hell of a performance from him.
Insane. And this is the first round, Doug, that G2 have used. Oh, no, sorry, that's Leviathan. I'm getting my teams mixed up right now. I was going to say they used a normal Viper Wall for once.
Overtime resetting the situation. G2 on the attack side. You've got Aspas and you've got King here. The only two close by. That Spit's going to buy some time. He's got the dash proc. The wall goes up. Bullet whizzing by. But no kill found.
No kill found, but so much info found. Mazzino, he's here quickly on the rotate.
Yeah, able to move the line of scrimmage, yes, but it's a little bit further and it's still set up. Just when they think they have that part solved, another wall goes up. That was really nicely done by Com. He took all of that space A to confirm that there was nothing else coming around, realizing that they aren't committing to the hit B, takes a step back.
And now he's back in heaven. A new angle, but he can't connect. Oh no! It's disaster for Com.
Not able to contain. Not able to be the safety valve that Leviathan needed in that instance. And so they're going to turn back towards B. 35 seconds left of the round. The pressure could not be greater.
With that one way being up, Aspas is repositioning to yellow.
Seconds
He
left.
might be able to find this window of opportunity as the exec is coming through.
Remember, this was where he tried finding a kill at the very beginning of the round, and he wasn't able to do so. Can he succeed the second time around? Icy into the swing! Icy into the kill!
Player standing.
It's high time! People start respecting G2, man. A flawless round.
Wow. Leviathan, it looked like they had a read on what was going on, but sometimes it just doesn't even matter. Com, I loved his play. He peaked from lower.
Yeah, it was great.
And then he went heaven, but he just couldn't connect when he needed to. The pressure, unsurmountable. And then it was just easy pick'ems on the actual site. Not a single gunfight going the way of Leviathan. G2 getting a little bit aggressive again, getting in the mix of things at A. Four members here.
And Leviathan doing their best to make a stand. This is their home turf. 12-3 in 2024 on this map. It's their playground.
And Aspas, he's been the king of Icebox. Unmatched.
Yeah,
but Tex, oh my gosh, what a timing.
Can he find value here again? Can he get away with it one more time? Returning to the scene of the crime, but this time dealt with. The spike out towards B, the alarm bot's still up. Position given away. Do they commit to this? They've left Mazzino across the middle of the map. No target found. Look at the discipline out from G2, man. They're not giving him a single fight. Patience as Leaf almost gets punished. Pepper through, but responding. And now Mazzino on the prowl.
Just be careful, that turret's gonna sniff him out.
tricky little thing, but Mazzino was able to find safe passage, able to get across, and he has to be dealt with here. You cannot forget him.
Look at that wall. He's got a pixel he can play off of.
Leaving just the slivers. Icy's gonna fall as well. Valen and Trent, the only two left standing. Trent down to 0 health. Valen, can he be this good? On low time in a 1v4, there's no shot. One round of OT was not enough to settle us. We go again.
Mazzino played that beautifully. Playing to his advantages, understanding that once he lives in that moment, G2 have to deal with him. And the wall to isolate, but that beginning entry from Tex to spread the defense thin. What a play to make in a match. So risky. That was so well played from Mazzino, living in that
Nice
moment,
lurk, Ian.
putting his own wall up, using that Phantom as a spam. The only Phantom player on this side of Leviathan, on this map at least.
And so into the second round we go. G2 back on attack. A really aggressive spot here for Aspas. That's danger.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Able to get away. Fleeing. That spit's gonna hurt, forget it. Oh, how? Oh, I thought he was gonna get away, but he's been flushed out. And again, G2 get what they want, they reset the map.
And how many times have G2 gotten the first blood on this attacking side and re-hit the same side? So that's why you see Leviathan holding their ground even though they hear everybody making audio cues running back.
Just feels like G2 have gotten so many of them.
Yeah, but this time around, Valen taking the right approach. Heading back towards that B side. They know that the B orb is still up. Keep in mind, Jonah P, he grabbed the A orb and got a kill. He's one off of that Viper's Pit. That's the win condition into this round.
I don't know that anyone saw the cascade go up across the middle of the map. That's why they have everyone back A.
Yep.
And so now they know the other harbor wall has gone up towards B. All of the utilities lighting up the map.
And all the mollies aren't here.
They're a step behind the play, and Tex was way too far up. Now the spike planted, the pit invested.
Right here.
And they don't, I mean, they don't have a drone. They don't really have anything to deal with this pit.
At best, the shock dart comes back up off of a cooldown, but...
Yeah, but even then, I mean,
yep.
Valen up close. Crosshair drained, but Trent over the top, the suppressive fire helps him out. King's left alone. Trent gets 3, G2 again on map point.
Clean shots from Trent to close out that round, but the setup of G2 using utility to flush out Mazzino, who oftentimes plays that gen area. There's nothing you can do about that. He tried to go away, tried to get away unscathed. Gets decimated, Aspas. Barely see Trent in that moment. That last shot. Too easy for him.
I love the hard-hitting comms that come out.
Yeah.
From players, intense moments.
Yep.
Right, biggest tournament of the year, high-pressure OT. That one.
Yep. It will be a timeout for G2, though. Trying to close this one out. They've been on match point, back-to-back OTs.
Dude, this has been such a ridiculous map between these two guys. 8-8 on gun rounds. 14-13 in way of first bloods for G2. Everything is on like a razor-thin margin.
I said it. It's really a battle of attrition. These two teams are so evenly matched. And yeah, Leviathan won the last time around in a BO5. But this is all that matters. Champions. The biggest of scopes that you're under. And it truly does feel like you're actually playing for the real #1 seed in this tournament right here in terms of NA.
You mentioned feeling like they're under the biggest of scopes. I mean, everything gets exposed in situations like this. The tiniest of weaknesses get punished. And for some reason, G2 consistently find a way to push LEV on this map. And then again, I mean, remember, Vitality did a bit of the same.
Time for a field test.
What a different map. I mean, it couldn't be any more different, really. Leviathan, once again, forced to make a stand. Forced to keep this map alive. This is such a fascinating adaptation. We just saw Leaf recall his utility before the stuff got cleared.
Yeah, he didn't know how it got broken previously. This time sitting around there waiting to see if it was a molly lineup. Indeed it was. So he gets the info that he needs. He'll have that turret up in about like 5 seconds. He'll put it in mid.
There it is, yeah, it's up now. And now it's back up across the middle of the map, and he held that spot up until it was back up.
Yeah, he's not falling for any of Leviathan's mid shenanigans this time around. Remember Tex jumping through the window in the previous OT.
And remember, this time it's a fake. It's a pump fake again. You draw out the harbor wall back towards A. You're starting to take space elsewhere on the map.
There's a couple different layers to this, but that harbor wall towards A site indicates that it's most likely G2 are playing backside and not close angles. That's why Leviathan walk all the way up.
That's another attempt to clear Leaf's utility. Texas Nano back towards B long, but nothing is found. They have gotten out onto A, though, with very little resistance. A deep alarm bot out. Remember how heroic Valen was in OT. To get to OT. Can he deliver once more?
Leviathan have been so proactive in these moments, in these post plants.
That ult's gonna be brutal. The spam coming through the wall. 1 for 1 found. Both Killjoy sitting on the sideline for the rest of the round as numbers equalize. Back and forth, tit for tat. The kill feed will not decide. Leafs left in a 1v2, now 1. But he's so weak, and Calm was over the top. He had no idea. Leviathan keep us again.
10 HP and a dream. Calm, he's been so good all map long. He stays controlled in that moment. Takes out Leaf, who's completely unaware. There's no way for you to know Sova's on top of you in that moment. Almost a collat there for Tex. But the trade was too much. Trent, he got caught out jumping out with his knife.
And the spacing there was so great. You watch Aspas dash back.
Oh
and
my God, I'm so
dead.
glad you had to swing that.
That's on me, that's on me, that's on me, okay?
And you mentioned how when it goes this far into a game, with the scope that you're under, the littlest of differences can change the entire game. Trent, if he doesn't jump out in that moment with a knife out, maybe he doesn't give a freebie away to Mazzino. Maybe they now have the advantage, or at least keep even numbers in the 3v3. But it really does come down to those micro moments.
I mean, even you hear Calm and King talking there. Calm understanding, yeah, I should have swung that earlier.
Exactly.
He realizes, yeah, that was on me 1000%. And so we will go once more.
And this time, Leviathan using their overtime timeout. 14-14. I mean, at one point of this game, when G2 were on attack, it felt like G2 were going to take this one home. All of a sudden, Leviathan gets on attack. It feels like, okay, Leviathan are going to take this one home. Neither team budging. Who's going to surrender first? Who will concede?
This is just map 1.
The willpower of both these teams so far, it's outstanding.
Calm hopping up to 410 and clearing that early dart.
Oh, that cascade blocks
really
the turret.
Active
Oh my
from
gosh!
Jonah P. Tucked behind the cascade, and they have no idea that he's there. But will the water betray him? There was somebody right to his left. Mazzino's spidey senses net him the kill. From so close to so far. Again, the advantage the way of Lev.
And is that what does it?
G2 have been able to win the opening round in OT these last 2 bouts. We'll see if Leviathan can respond here.
I mean, the discipline of Aspas in this moment. To hold all of B by himself. The confidence you have to have as well. Once he hears this orb go up, he's going to know. A great molly.
Mean, everything is considered. They cut off the line, and they're going to buy time for the rotate. But they managed to get through. Yes, a little beaten, a little battered.
30 seconds left.
But they do manage to succeed. Now their own Nano's doing a bit of the same. They've scaled so far back into Swan. Dre, this is dangerous. What a shot from King.
Right here.
Trent responding, and they know that Mazzino's there. Look at the ping on the minimap.
But Calm.
They've got him figured out, but you're right. Calm over the top. Can he get there in time? No. A 3v3 is... Things slow down. Spam coming through, 2 HP left for Leaf. Will they flush him out of the spot? Leaf is so damn snappy.
The timing got icy.
Now a 2v2, Leaf, again, 2 HP, refusing to die! And it's gonna have to fall onto him again against Aspas. The one-way smoke, it's a jump spot. Aspas will clean him up. Leviathan will get the defuse. And they're on map point.
It's absolute madness in here. The level of play we're witnessing, Leaf coming up huge. But Aspas, the guy that I was talking about in the beginning of that actual mid to B. Yeah, that's a feels bad man moment. But Aspas, the one who was in B main the entire way through, he reconciled with his team, goes all the way back and wins the 1v1 like that. And no emotion, completely void. That's what you need in times like these. It's so intense.
That's the Aspas way. Can G2 respond?
Yeah, they need to do what they couldn't do. Win the defensive side in overtime. Just to tie it back up and give another crack at it.
Tex, remember all these tiny mind games around the Killjoy utility.
He's gonna get cleared. 3 members holding him. I wonder if they saw a barrel and that's why this is happening.
Well, I also think there's just been so much focus around the utility that they've got to understand something is there. The orb goes up, and that should be enough of a cue.
Tex needs to get out of there. His turret's gone. Comes back with his team. Jonah P, who's a lone warrior in Snowman. Nobody to help him. That dart's going to sniff him out.
He's by himself. You're absolutely right. Like a stalk severed from a plan and left to wither. But now they're joining him. Now he's got help. The spike has been planted. And again, this Harbor utility will buy time. The one benefit, though, is that Leaf is ahead of it just a little bit. And they have utility of their own.
There's still a Molly for King, and there's still a Shock Dart for Calm.
Previously divided, now reunited. A 5v5, potentially for the map. This would be ridiculous. King is going to be on this late flank. Keep a close eye on the mini-map. Valen pushing forward, trying to forge his way through. Only 1 kill found, though. And there's the flank. That could be the deadliest. That could be the most dangerous. It did get to half, but Leaf's got to do it by himself. And again, position given away. G2 cannot close the deal. Leviathan stands strong, and they take Icebox.
What a flank from King in that moment. He took out the wingman. He mollies the spike. It forces G2 to just swing randomly, hoping, praying for anything.
What a map. That was just map 1. Folks, stay tuned. We've got plenty more to come. We'll be right back.
Red Bull gives you wings.